All right, same thing, return to zero. This is just a little bit nutty from the last round. It's that fast. Like, that's how fast it's dropping back to zero. That's silly. That is amazing. I think the best part about that was my whole candid response at the range. The whole red dot just basically sat on the target, and the 507 comp made that whole thing incredibly easy. All right, so recoil control is almost off the charts good. Next though, let's test some manual of arms. Similar to the experience from last year, the slightly smaller grip size means the Tac is easier to manipulate than other 2011s and makes using the controls simpler. The mags also seem to be cleaned up, allowing me to insert and move to the next set without any sort of issue. Round after round, this test was just pretty much effortless. Hey Wizards, welcome back. Now today I got a bit of a crazy one that I've been excited to show you guys for a while now. Today we'll be diving into the all-new 2024 Bul Armory Tac with the 5-inch barrel in the Pro variant. The 2024 model is all blacked out and sweet, but the Tac line is actually a totally different pistol than what they released last year. Like, this is all new from the ground up with a new dust cover and everything. They also did some changes to the naming convention that I think makes it a lot simpler and just overall cleans it all up. And that's likely because the aluminum frame Tac 4 1/4 I love so much from last year was shown to be more favorable for EDC with its lighter weight and that knife-like speed. So in 2024, the right now, the aluminum frame version is now referred to as the EDC, and the big boy version I have here with the steel frame, this is the new Tac line. EDC, aluminum frame version that's been improved upon from last year with more EDC-friendly features. Tac is the all-new one for 2024 that's bigger and heavier and really fills in a totally different mission set than the EDC does. Both the EDC and the Tac come in 4 1/4 and 5-inch versions, along with the Pro versions having the V8 ports at the front. But that's the only difference with the Pro. It's just the ports. You still get all the other cool stuff. So now, no more SAS2, yada, yada, yada. You either have the Tac, which is the bigger steel frame that shoots a little bit flatter, or the EDC with the lighter, faster aluminum frame. I think you're all up to speed now on which one is the Tac and which one is the EDC as we go forward. As I said, I think the verbiage is clearer and it makes a little bit more sense when you're trying to pick out which one you want to get. The EDC version apparently got a ton of upgrades too, and now it's all blacked out also, so I'm super excited to see that. So before we tear into this Bul Armory Tac, let's take a moment, thank today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Nocturn Industries. Bring your night vision superpowers to life with the all-new ruggedized Manicore, offering you a lightweight dual nod configuration with manual gain, IR elimination, and independent pod shutoff. From just getting started in night vision all the way to the operational professional, Nocturn Industries has you covered. The Manicore is what I went with for my own personal setup, so I'm excited to show that off to you all soon. And I want to try out one of those bat packs. I have the whole battery pack for longer life. So we're going to do all that setup. And as always, you can use discount code TLDco over at nocturnindustries.com also. And just big thanks to Nocturn for making all these videos possible. Now let's take a moment and take a look at my potential biases with reviewing this pistol. Well, I definitely have some because I really do like Bul. I like the people who run it, and I like the company as a whole because they're not actively trying to just rip everybody off. Now, does that give me some sort of bias? Well, of course it does. But we don't have an affiliate relationship with Bul in any way, and if I say anything good or bad, Bul always takes that input and seems like they approve upon their pistol and then just puts out a better one every year. So they do like constructive criticism. And Bul did send me this pre-production version for review, so with all that and me liking them, I'm gonna have some sort of bias, but that's gonna be the case for every single YouTuber out there. So as always, make sure to watch a bunch of different reviews and be the most educated consumer you can possibly be. Don't take what I say or any other YouTuber says as gospel, as, they're just making video reviews and they're not the authority on anything. Same with me. For me, I personally watch and highly recommend Humble Marksman, mostly for the dad jokes, but also for his great perspective on these pistols. He's also a Bul fanboy too, so sorry about that. I'll be honest, I think we're all Bul fanboys once you start shooting one of these, but let's tear into it and talk about why the whole Tac was just rebuilt from the ground up and what makes it so special. The 2024 Bul Armory Tac adds in new features, such as serrations, full dust cover, and steel frame, to add more weight to the non-moving parts, to make the whole platform shoot softer and flatter than most other 2011s on the market. I think that's something a lot of other YouTuber reviews noted too, that the EDC version, what is now called the EDC version in the aluminum frame, is a lot lighter, but they also found it to have a lot more recoil and be a little bit more snappier than other 2011s they've compared it to. I also think that if most of them weighed more than 150 pounds, they wouldn't have that problem, but that's just me. It certainly is a trade-off though, as you can't be a heavy pistol for good recoil control and then also cut that weight without it being a little bit more snappy. I'm excited to see how the Tac compares though. Now, the whole premise behind this new platform is to bridge that gap between competition and duty, to give you this flat shooting, accurate system that focuses more on performance and a little bit less on weight savings. I'll show you as we get into the tabletop, but before we get into the tech and all the little features of everything, let's take a moment and do some first shots.
All right, gonna try this thing out for the first time. I remember to wear my safety glasses this time because it actually has ports on it. So here we go. I haven't tried this at all. Pretty excited about it. See? Turn on my brightness. Yeah, I'm gonna need another one of those. Yeah, it's silly flat and you can shoot it super fast. All right, let's do some more tests with it, go through more stuff. I'm excited though. I'll be honest with you. I just want to do one more of those before we get into the testing. Clean up my grip a little bit, see what we can really do with this thing. That's silly. That is absolutely silly. Okay, testing time.
This is gonna be a fun review. All right, let's get this thing on the table and look over everything. Oh, and it's got an absolutely killer optics plate system that's new for this year. I'll show you. It's nuts. Starting with the slide, we see the same front slide cuts to reduce mass and make room for the Pro Port V8 options, along with new changes for the now flush barrel and new slide serrations. The serrations have a much more aggressive cut with nice deep grooves to give you very easy manipulation of the slide. Comparing it to the previous version of last year, you get a much better idea of the changes and the more unique styling. The coating on the slide is the same PVD matte finish, but it appears to have gotten an upgrade to give a more uniform look from the frame all the way to the slide. The serrations have also been updated to be included in all of the Bul 2024 lineup, so the Tac, the EDC, all the different releases this year, and I think it gives it a much more identifiable look where you can look at a pistol and then be like, ugh, dude over there's got a Bul, let's go talk to him. One kind of weird thing I thought was interesting that came up a few times was, with the easier slide manipulation, the serrations along the side, and it being a little bit softer shooting, it was a lot more attractive to both my wife and my mother-in-law as a system that's just a lot easier to use. And as I said, it was kind of weird and unexpected, but as I looked at it, it was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, back to it though. As mentioned, there is also a full dust cover on the slide that gives a Picatinny rail along the entire front section of the pistol. Here we attached our Surefire X300 Turbo B model. It's already getting chewed up in my holster, but I want to give a big shout out to Primary Arms for helping supply us with this light so we can get our whole setup put together. I just love those guys and they offer pretty much everything on their website. Now, I mentioned it has a full dust cover, and of course we all know what that is, but just in case. Here you can see the difference between a full and partial dust cover at the bottom. The added weight of a full dust cover helps to control recoil by having more mass in the front of the weapon system. I totally didn't have to look that up, but see, you guys all already knew that. And if for some reason you didn't, well, now you can lie and just say that you did. For the optics, we get to some crazy stuff. Like we've seen in the past, the rear irons are blacked out, and on the Pro model, the front sight is a blacked out Novak front post. And that's done due to the porting. The actual front post would probably get occluded pretty quickly, but it's just a standard part if for some reason you wanted to swap it out. Now, the non-ported variant of the Tac has a green fiber optic front sight though, to add in the duty aspect to that configuration. I personally don't like having multiple dots in my field of view, and I like that it's blacked out, but it is cool that they give you different options, like if your department says you have to have certain things or certain configurations, you can get that, or if for some reason you just like to go fud it up with irons on the weekend. If this pistol didn't come with irons at all, I probably wouldn't care, to be honest. Red dot is just king, and I don't want to hear anything else. Speaking of, check this out. In 2024, we have the all-new Bul Optics plate system, or BAO. This is genius because it uses a center post on the slide that allows you to place various adapter plates over the top that then align to your different optics. Now let me chime in on why this is so pivotal. We've all probably seen like a million videos online with people's optics flying off, and that's because you really have two screws that are holding everything in and trying to keep everything together with the whole slide reciprocating. A ton of optics companies were also asked, what do you guys want to see improved in an optics system? And they're all like, hey, we want to see stronger screws so that they don't break. But screws are driven inward, and that's how they derive their strength, from going inside, not from a lateral force. Even with making the whole screws out of a different material, you'd still have the same problem because a screw has no force like we're talking about laterally. You have to have a different system altogether to remove those forces off the screws to keep your optics from flying off. With the BAO setup, you can see how Bul solved it. The energy from the slide reciprocation is instead transferred to the center post, removing the lateral forces on the screws altogether. You don't have a ton of little bits and pieces and holes cut everywhere. You just have different adapter plates you pop on and then attach your optic. Included in the box is also the RMR plate, the RMR/407K plate, and the Delta Point plate. The Delta Point optic, like the actual one, if you're running that horrible optic, needs longer screws though, and you can order them off the Bul website for a couple bucks. But normal, newer optics that are way better than that one, that are in the Delta Point cut, can use just regular screws that come with your optic. Bul is also working on some other plates like the Acro and some other ones that are fairly popular. And once those are completed, they're gonna be included with the pistol at no additional cost to you. And this is just another reason why I like Bul so much. They don't treat their optics plates like rare earth metals that you gotta wait 20 years for or pay a ton extra for. So the BAO system is just phenomenal, and here Holosun set us up with the 507 comp. The comp has a much larger viewing window for being able to transition quickly, while also giving you a more competition-focused reticle with the center dot that then also has an outer ring along with another larger outer ring on the outside. It should be noted that the glass is just phenomenal on the comp, and it gives one of the cleanest views I've seen from comparable optics. The BAO optic plate also allows the 507 comp to sit extremely low, which means we can see our irons easily without having a special cutout channel in our optic. I just want to tip my hat to the engineer that designed the BAO system and all the plates for Bul. And you have all the plates that are included when you buy it, it's all already put together. The whole thing is just incredibly smart. Moving to the barrel, we see it's all still stainless steel, but as we noted, it is now flush with the slide and has a 10-degree crown. The crowning on the end of the barrel is just this chef kiss that adds even more accuracy to the system as the bullet is released more uniformly from the rifling out the front. You can also see some specifically engineered cuts and finishes along the barrel to guarantee fit and function across the different friction surfaces. We also see our 8 ports along the front that are designed to push the pistol down and control recoil and help you return to target faster. We'll test it with our return to zero test, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it is absolutely stupid and it does phenomenal. Now, I did hear a bunch of comments on the Tomahawk review that the porting removes a lot of velocity, and I tested it and I didn't find that to be true. At the range, the S&B 124 grain we're using has a box FPS of 1126, and I was getting about 1050 to 1080, which is in line with what Humble Marksman got as a result from a similar test he did previously. I also heard some other dumb that porting can cause issues with lower grains like 115 grain, so I went ahead and tested some 115 grain AAC and 115 grain, Blazer, that's what I tested. Testing both of those sets of ammo gave me full lockback, and I had no issues cycling or anything at all.
Yeah, no issues, 115 grain, good to go. All right, same thing, just testing some different ammo. This is AAC 115 grain, just making sure it can run different random ammo. No, I'm trying to put that away. So let's see what it does, if it'll lock back and everything else. Definitely louder, man. Good bit louder. But yeah, full lock back, everything else. No issues with that also.
Bul actually prides themselves on being able to run standard duty ammo like normal off-the-shelf stuff and have the ports there, so it seems like they nailed it from everything that I tested. Now though, small asterisk there, subsonic ammo. If you want to run subs, you need to run the non-ported version because that ammo just doesn't have enough additional gas in order to make everything work right. So subs, not ported. All right, getting back to it, we see the same high-performance hammer that's also in Bul's competition guns. We also have the same ambi safety that is nice and low profile, while also giving good solid control. Now here we see the rear backstrap has been coated black instead of the previous silver coloration. And talking to Bul, they said this bit is a little bit tricky as they actually have to coat this part and then fit it and then coat it again. So we are seeing some different added bits that are adding a little bit more to the production cost, like having this coated backstrap and having that crown barrel. For the mag release, we see the same design as the previous year with the circular button, but it now has a nice matte finish instead of the previous glossy look, adding to that overall theme across the new pistol. Moving to the trigger, we see what I think is one of the best in the business. Here you can see the unique trigger pad design that is actually modular, so you can remove this piece and swap it out for a different design. So you could do flat or rounded or whatever else they offer that you want to use. And this is very unique because most other 2011 companies void your warranty if you tear everything open and switch out the trigger shoe. For the Bul, none of that nonsense. You just take 2 seconds, switch it out, warranty, still good to go. Now, the trigger function itself is just top notch. You have this short take up, then you're right against the solid wall. The trigger has a super clean break. I measured mine and it's about 2 pounds, which is awesome, and a bit lighter than last year's 2.5 to about 2.8 pounds. Now it's supposed to be 3.5 pounds, so don't yell at me if you order one and yours is actually 3.5 pounds like they actually advertise it. Don't mess with mine though, that 2 pounds you're gonna see is awesome. The trigger also has an incredibly short reset, along with this great audible and tactile feeling to let you know the trigger is reset and ready to fire again. Also, if I haven't commented on this yet, the slide is like it's on absolute ball bearings. It's insane. I mean, I thought last year's was cool and it felt great. I mean, I did kind of gum it up with the Cerakote a little bit though, but this is just absolutely crazy. And I bet you I could do that little air rack thing you see stupid Instagrammers do. I want to try it. Let me get some dummy rounds. Hold on. All right, how do you do this? Just like this and then just... yeah, that's a little nuts. Back on the pistol though, for the grip, we see the same magic we saw from last year. And I like how nothing was touched here as it was just perfect. From the angle to the front and rear grip material, it's all left unchanged. The only small bit we see is a cool little touch with the silver screw being changed out for a black coated one. I know it's going to come into play because that grip just locks into your hand, and it's what made the now EDC version so great, and it's just this like recoil deleting thing. Looking at the Magwell, we again see the same design from last year, but we now have a matte finish instead of the gloss that I think looks and feels a ton better. We still have the rear pin you can remove if you decide to ditch the Magwell altogether. Now I also tested the Magwell and I noted that there is something changed or a new coating on the mags. Either way, it cleaned up whatever small hiccup I was having with the previous last year's version, and now you can insert the magazine like a complete lunatic and they still seat correctly. Oh, and you also get 4 of these mags instead of the 2 that the other 2011 brands give you. And it seems like a small thing, but they all include +2 base plates, so they all have the same round count. I don't know why my Staccato came with 117 and 121 rounder. I don't know why anybody would want that. So it's a lot nicer that all the included mags are the same and the same capacity. The base plates were also slightly redesigned for the +2 with this edge on the side that helps for stripping of mags with the Magwell opening on the side. You also get this Bul Armory bag when you order that you can carry everything in and hold all your mags and your pistol, and it includes a lock, a chamber flag, along with a bag of goodies that holds your cleaning tools, all your instructions on how it all works, your tool for removing the guide rod. You can also just use a paper clip, so please don't take anybody seriously that's saying this part of the setup is tripping them up. If that part is challenging for you, I am very, very concerned about you dressing yourself and feeding yourself unsupervised. Also inside, you have the included base plates in your kit, along with the stickers and a dry fire training card. Okay, I think that's everything and it all seems awesome, but I don't know about you, I wanna get to the range and actually test it. So for the ammo we're gonna be using today, I'm gonna be using S&B 124 grain for just about everything. As we already mentioned, we already tested the 115 grain AAC and the Blazer, and we had no problem with those. So I'm just gonna use one set of ammo for all the testing. So for the first drill, let's do some draw from a holster and see how that one does. And you guys would be super proud of me. I actually remembered, because it has ports, I should definitely wear my safety glasses. Drawing from a holster felt clean, and the familiar angle allowed me to get on target easily. The added weight was notable compared to the aluminum frame version from last year. I didn't feel like I could cut through the air quite as fast, but that trade-off became suddenly apparent when I added in multiple shots. While the draw took a bit more effort, the speed of follow-up shots became effortless, and the whole system just returned immediately to zero. So it's definitely a little bit of a give and take, and that's something I think a lot of people need to realize, particularly when they're watching a lot of different pistol reviews, that oftentimes you're giving up one thing for another, and it's not necessarily this and that. For instance, here we saw a lower agility with the firearm because it has more mass to it, but we saw this huge increase in recoil control and speed. Now, I also think I got my tests out of order, so next let's do the return to zero test.
So like we talked about, this is going to be how fast the pistol actually returns to zero. Once it comes back flat again, then I'll shoot another shot. So as soon as the reticle is back on target, I'll fire a little bit slower than normal, but you can see how the recoil is kind of controlled by the pistol itself. That is insane. Let's do another round of that. As soon as I'm firing as soon as the dot is back on target, so it's actually delayed. So I'm seeing it drop back into center and then firing, so I could shoot it faster than this. That's nuts. All right, same thing, return to zero. This is just a little bit nutty from the last round. It's that fast. Like, that's how fast it's dropping back to zero. That's silly. That is amazing.
I think the best part about that was my whole candid response at the range. The whole red dot just basically sat on the target, and the 507 comp made that whole thing incredibly easy. All right, so recoil control is almost off the charts good. Next though, let's test some manual of arms. Similar to the experience from last year, the slightly smaller grip size means the Tac is easier to manipulate than other 2011s and makes using the controls simpler. The mags also seem to be cleaned up, allowing me to insert and move to the next set without any sort of issue. Round after round, this test was just pretty much effortless. I swear they changed something though, because I also didn't launch one of the mags just randomly into the air this time. All right though, I wanna see this. Let's do rapid shots and see what this thing can actually do.
All right, for this one, it's just gonna be rapid 8. I'm gonna see how fast I can shoot 8 shots. Trying to stay as accurate as I can, but accuracy is not the name of the game for this one. No hiccup.
All right, so this is a little bit crazy. Let me tell you one thing though. Normally, I do this trick that I learned from Mil-Spec Mojo that, teaches you how to shoot fast by having this cadence, and it allows you to shoot in a much better pattern and shoot quickly. Like he taught you, say in your head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when you go out and shoot the pistol, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the trigger is so damn fast, I can't think of the numbers that fast in my head, and I'm just losing track. So let's try it again. This time I'm just gonna keep jamming the trigger. But now I wanted to see just how fast I could run this thing if I really pushed it. It is just stupid fast, and I'm still hitting the target. It's just so fast that I can't even keep track of the round count. I have to say, shooting the Bul Tac is just an absolute cheat code. And something very, very interesting happened where my wife, after watching me shooting a couple rounds, said she wanted to try it. Mind you, my wife has never shot a pistol, nor has she given a crap about any other thing we've taken out to the range. But once she saw this and saw how crazy it was, she wanted to have a turn. So I gave her some quick lessons on how to grip the pistol correctly and let her loose, and she's immediately hitting targets. I even set her up with some different drills to work body and head targets that she cleaned up nicely. One thing I didn't really think about, and it's probably why not many people really bring it up, is how much more approachable a pistol like the Tac is to new shooters like my wife. It's got an easy to use slide, it's nice and soft shooting and has some extra weight that just makes it an overall easier platform to just get started with and learn on instead of something super snappy or some tiny little gun like some horrible FFL sells them. You know what I'm talking about, Taurus, whatever, those garbage things, don't use those. All right though, I guess we should move into some pros and cons and wrap this up. The first big pro I want to talk about is that absolutely awesome BAO optics mounting system. The new Bul Optics mounting system is nothing short of genius. It's simple and effective. The plates take all the stress off the screws, giving you a system that is easy to swap out for different optics without the worry of your optic ever just flying off. Plus, the new BAO system seems to sit a little bit lower than the previous year, allowing you to have more slide serrations to grab onto on the side. The fact that the plates are also included is this huge bonus when there's other pistol companies that are out there that will sell you the pistol but then treat the actual optic plates like they're some sort of unobtainable magical thing. So yeah, I like the plates. All right though, the next pro is a huge one, and it's the kind of the whole redesign of the Tac platform to make it this ultra flat, soft shooting thing that is just crazy. From initial shots to rapid shots, all the way to reloads, the whole system was easy to use and just stayed locked on target. The ports and the weight were so well balanced that the whole thing just wanted me to run it as fast as I could. It was so soft shooting and easy to control that with the 124 grain S&Bs, the dot would actually be back on target before, like faster than I can actually pull the trigger. It's totally wild, and I hope it's something you guys all get to experience. I'll also note that we had no hiccups on anything from 115 grain to 124 across the multiple different brands. It just ate everything and had full lock back on everything. Now, another huge pro I want to highlight are all the small tweaks and updates that wrap together this whole new 2024 Tac platform. From the crown barrel to the blacked out grip screws, to the matching matte finish on the slide, all the way to the mag release, the whole Tac just looks uniform and cohesive from end to end, making for a pistol that actually looks as good as it performs, if not even a little bit better. I think I could probably go on and on about the pros. I've just been wowed by this thing. But the last one I'm gonna bring up are the mags. Having 4 included mags with base plates is a hilarious middle finger to the competition, and it just shows Bul Armory is all about its consumers, giving you some amazing magazines with the +2 base plates that really perform well to make even me look good. The mags are just badass, and I want to give one final shout out to Holosun for supplying us with the 507 comp that did just awesome, and to Primary Arms for the Surefire X300 Turbo that really rounded out the whole package and made it all look badass. Now though, we got to get to cons, and the first one, let's do the obvious one, availability. As Bul serves the entire international market, it's very hard to get a hold of one of these and often requires signing up on an email list and waiting for some sort of in-stock notification. This isn't ideal, and it is a huge barrier to ownership. I know Bul's working through this, and I'm hopeful to see more of the actual Bul pistols in stores so that more of you can try them and they're more available to just purchase out in the wild and not have to do a bunch of special ordering or email notifications. All right, though, another con. Let's just be honest with ourselves. The other con is the price. We see the new additions of the magazines, crowns, and part upgrades have added a little bit to the cost, and it's certainly not an inexpensive system. Now though, let's make sure to look at all things relatively. A comparative pistol to the Tac is gonna be like $3,500 to $4,000 from a competitor. So while it is very expensive, it's also an insanely good deal when you compare it against other offerings on the market that give you the same feature set. I'll just say that if you're in the market to buy a 2011, seriously look at the Bul, because the features to price ratio is just absolutely insane. Now, I did one small little change here at the end, and I put together like an attributes chart so that you can better see kind of what you trade off and what each pistol can do in a more uniform way across multiple different pistol reviews. For example, here you can see how the 2024 Tac has a bit less agility with its larger weight, but it also results in a much faster and flatter shooting platform. Here we can compare it to last year's aluminum frame version, which is now the EDC, and see how the stats change as we exchange agility for recoil control. Hopefully we do more of those style charts as we do all the different pistol reviews, as I think it gives you some better data instead of saying that like, this just feels more this or more that. I am also very curious how the new 2024 EDC compares to last year with all the new features and updates. So stay tuned as we test the all-new 2024 Bul Armory EDC and see if it's the dagger to the sword of the Tac version. I mean, if it's anything like the Tac, I'm just gonna be blown away. But I hope this review of the Bul Armory Tac in the 5-inch barrel and the Pro variant was useful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our YouTube members and all of our Patreon supporters. You guys make it possible that we can go out and test pistols like this and see how they work and do all kinds of fun stuff with them. It's just an amazing time, and I thank you all for it. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below what you thought about this Tac and what new pistol from the Bul 2024 lineup that you think is the most exciting. I want to hear about it. That ultralight, I want to see that ultralight. All right, everybody, wash out. I mean, people on Instagram can do this, can't? No, that's not even difficult. It's not even hard at all. They make it look like it's some sort of like difficult thing. Oh, small jam. Whoop. Make it look like it's hard. You get it on the first try. Yeah, it's not even hard. Those people are lying to you. This is simple. Bunch of jerks. What do they say? Why do they say that's hard? They act all proud when they do that. There's nothing to this. All right. This pistol's awesome. Probably one of my absolute favorites so far. I cannot believe just how fast I could shoot it. Like, I couldn't pull the trigger fast enough. It's probably the first time it's ever happened. Same with that elf trigger I did. I just literally couldn't pull the trigger fast enough. Great platform. They did some awesome updates. Had some annoying airplanes today. Overall, it's just awesome. I can't wait to see more of this stuff. Got all kinds of cool stuff I'm cooking for you guys, so stay tuned. I don't have anything else. All right, get out of here. Go away.